Good evening and welcome to Freedom is a Constant Struggle. Uh, Today, we're going to be talking about Haiti with community activist and radio host and longtime struggler um, Jean-Yvon Ca- Kernizan. My French is terrible. First, let me send out condolences to all the people who have suffered the loss of loved ones killed or injured in the nightclub massacre in Orlando last Sunday, June 12th. Termed the worst massacre in U.S. history, it killed at least 49 people and maimed 53 others. Why do we, the people of this nation, continue to let the NRA, the National Rifle Association, dictate gun policies? Moreover, when we have a president who orders targeted assassinations weekly, drops bombs from drones on civilians, and commands an endless war on terror, when in fact we are the world's worst terrorists, do you really think there will be no retaliation? This is blowback. And we can anticipate more vengeful acts if we continue to bomb and mass murder civilians all over the world, expecting to do so with impunity. The next thing I want to call your attention to is Juneteenth coming up. Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration commemorating the ending of slavery in the United States, dating back to 1865. It was on June 19th that the Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, landed at Galveston, Texas, with news that the war had ended and that the enslaved were now free. Note that this was 2.5 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. There will be a Juneteenth celebration, and maybe I can get Jackie to put the poster up for us. Juneteenth celebration coming up next Saturday on Fillmore, and I think it's going to go from like 11 to 7 or something. There's lots of good entertainment and edutainment happening, so I hope you'll be able to make that on June 18th, the celebration of Juneteenth. And so without further ado, I want to introduce my very special guest, all the way from New York via Skype. Jean-Yvon Kernizan is a community organizer and a political analyst originally from Haiti. For over 10 years, Yvon was host of a popular Haitian community radio program in New York City, where he is well known for over 3 decades of advocacy and participation in Haiti's struggle for democracy and justice. Yvon is very knowledgeable of Haiti and current developments. He is frequently interviewed on various media, including Pacifica. He is the founder of Pour Soleil Levé, I hope I pronounced it right, or For the Rising Sun, a Haiti-based community organization dedicated to children and youth, primarily in the field of education. As you may know, Haiti has been in turmoil over fraudulent elections over the past year. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Yvon, which is what everyone calls Jean-Yvon, and ask you to talk about the fraudulent elections and what's going on in Haiti right now.
Well, let me start by saying good afternoon or good evening to your listening audience. And this is not the first time we doing a show together. The last time I was in California, I remember was it KPOO or
KPFA probably.
KPFA, yes,
Yeah,
we did an
Pacifica.
interview, and that was over 10 years ago.
It was a while ago.
I'm happy to be here and to answer any question you may have. And I also want to thank you and all the people who are interested in what's happening in Haiti right now. You've kept the light on Haiti for the longest time, and we do appreciate that. We do need for people to know what's happening in Haiti. We are the first black independent nation I can say in the world, but we still struggling to have real election in Haiti. And whenever we think that, every time we think that we're having it right, there are a lot of outside influence on the outcome of the elections in Haiti. And this is what the people of Haiti have to fight in order to have real, fair, honest, and democratic election in Haiti.
Right.
So it is a constant struggle, if I
For
may say.
sure.
But we are we are up to the task, and we are fighting to change that.
Right. And
And we are
now,
very grateful, like I said before, to anyone who are interested or who kept talking about Haiti. And frankly, a lot of times when things are really tough, we only have to rely on in radio and television show like Pacifica to help us, because it's really not easy.
I know because the mainstream media doesn't cover Haiti at all.
Exactly.
In fact, I was
Unless
really,
it's
really
some,
surprised that today, because I'd been Googling and trying to find recent information, and it wasn't until today, this morning, that they actually had breaking news from about Haiti, it and it was an expose of the Red Cross spending millions, literally millions, $500 million or something, has
not
just been blown off with administrative costs and all kinds of nonsense, all kinds of shenanigans, and they can't even get them. There's been an ongoing investigation. Why don't you talk about that?
well, the Red Cross collected a lot of money, and they used Haiti to do it after the earthquake. But if you go to Haiti, they have nothing to show for it. They did not do anything at all to help the people of Haiti. I mean, they collected over $700 million, I believe. But if you go to Haiti, they have absolutely nothing to show for it. They use the money they collected in the name of the Haitian, they use it in Chile, because there was an earthquake right afterward in Chile, but nothing is really spent in Haiti. They started talking about rebuilding Haiti, and it's not just the Red Cross. I mean, the Clintons did their share also, you know, collecting a lot of money. And if you remember well, Bill Clinton is the one in charge of, is still the one in charge of reconstruction. But what did they build for the people? Nothing.
In fact, I read
It's,
somewhere, I read this article exposed the fact that they had promised to build homes for Haiti, who were homeless, I mean, behind the earthquake, and they built 6 homes. 6.
that happened with the Red Cross also. It was the same thing. But the people themselves, and right now it's a lot more difficult in Haiti than it was before the earthquake. The price of food is a very rare commodity in Haiti for a lot of people. And it's I mean, the elections, the people were counting on the election to change things, and you know what happened. They had 2 attempts, but the verification commission said that there was no election in Haiti on the 25th of October. But when you analyze what's happening right now, there are people that got elected, quote unquote, in this election that they are actually putting in place, and when everyone knows that there was no election. So it's a very complicated situation in Haiti right now. But I don't understand why the countries like the European community and the United States are backing up the very people that tried to steal the election. And they're
Right.
still trying to do it as we speak.
Right. I know, and it makes no sense at all.
Doesn't. It
But it
really
does make sense from their point of view because actually, if you look at what's going on in Puerto Rico and what's going on in Honduras, what's going on in Haiti is it's the same thing. It's neo-colonialism, and they are
Well,
taking complete control of the economies and the infrastructure.
but
Is
the
that
only
right?
difference is that we're not going to accept it in Haiti.
I beg your pardon?
It can happen in other parts of the world, but in Haiti, we're not accepting it.
I understand
So
that.
we're going to settle. We are not going to accept anything short of what real election is supposed to be. I mean, I'm in New York right now, and I'm watching at all the primary and everything and what's going on. This is what we want in Haiti. We want real transparency when it comes to election. We want fair election. We want free election in Haiti. We don't want the United States or the European community to dictate who is going to choose who is going to be in office. The people of Haiti has a right to fair election. We have a right to elect
Absolutely.
our leaders. We have
Of course.
a right to decide who we want to govern our country. Martelly, that was the worst president we ever had in Haiti, the most corrupt government we've ever had. But when you look back, Martelly was chosen by Mrs. Clinton when she was Secretary of State. And those elections in 2010, 2011, Martelly came out fifth. He was number five. And then they put him there because they were sure with Martelly they will get all the things that they wanted from him.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, the amount of money that this administration stole from the people of Haiti is ridiculous, to say the least.
I know they're poverty pimps. It's
And,
unbelievable.
and Pamela White, on August 9th, was the first one to proclaim that the election in Haiti were good. When everyone in Haiti, most Haitian were denouncing all that happened in this election. To me, it's also personal because I'm going to be 62, and that was the first time I voted in my life. I
Wow.
was never able to do that. I spent a lot of 32 years in the US. Being that I was never a US citizen, I couldn't vote. And in Haiti, that was the first election that I was in Haiti. And the things that I saw, I was also an observer to this election. The
Oh, okay.
things that I witnessed,
Okay.
I mean,
I
and
understand somebody got shot, or more than one person got shot.
it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that. You had people armed to the neck going into polling posts, kicking everybody out, do their thing, and then after that, they would close the place, the polling vote, they would close it, and then reopen it after an hour. And it was like nothing happened. And if you look at,
It's worse than the rigging they do here.
if you look, it's much worse. If you look at the result, a political party who is less than 3 years old, 3 years old, got over 70% the result.
And
You know, people that no one ever heard of, people nobody knew.
right, talk a little bit about Lavalas because some of our listeners may not know about Lavalas.
Well, from Lavalas, there was a movement that was called Lavalas.
Right.
And President Aristide started Family Lavalas, which is a political organization. We don't like to call it a political party because it doesn't work like the traditional party that people are used to. It is, to us, an instrument that we use to better ourselves.
I see.
See, it's an instrument, it's an organization, but it's not like the political parties that people are used to. In 2000, when we were going to election, we had over 2 million members out of 4 million people that were eligible to vote. How many is it exactly now? I cannot tell. Because in 2001, we had a campaign of identifying the people that were members of Famila Balpast. And these elections, we knew we were going to win because we had the numbers
Right.
to win. And these elections were boycotted by some people in Haiti, by some political parties. And like it always happened in Haiti, the international community, the United States, the uh, the United Nations, they all backed up the opposition. And the day President Aristide was been installed in Haiti, they were swearing in another guy as president also. Of course, that never really matters because the people knew who they elected. However, you will find that a lot of times they will refer to these people who were intruders, to say the least. And this is how they started undermining the administration of Aristide. And what happened in 2004 when we were celebrating the 200th anniversary of the independence of Haiti, something that the world should have participated in, they used that day to boycott Haiti. And when I was coming back from Gonaïve because that was the birthplace of the independence of Haiti. When I get to Port-au-Prince, it was all that. They were burning tires, and the international community boycotted the celebration of the bicentennial of the independence of Haiti. But that was okay because that was not the first time we had to fight for, to put Haiti in the light for people to know about the history of Haiti. And what's happening now is that what happened in 2004 on February, as you guys know, President Aristide was kidnapped, he was taken to Central Africa,
Right.
a country that was in the middle of a civil war. And a lot of people believe that they took him there, it would have been easier because it was easier for them to get rid of him if he was in a country where there was already a lot of turmoil.
And I think they only have like one airport or something. I mean, it's really a very
Exactly. So we there was a lot of effort, and we managed to bring him to Jamaica.
right.
You know what happened after that? The United States thought it was too close to Haiti, and thanks to President Mbeki, we were able to take him to South Africa, where he spent the better part of 7 years. And meanwhile, in Haiti, if you look at Haiti in 2004 and you look at the same Haiti today, you look at the, the prices, the cost of living, you look at the Haitian currency compared to the dollar. I mean, it's
What is it?
a lot more difficult. Now you need 65 good for $1. And in 2004, you needed about 37.
Oh,
And the higher the dollar, the more difficult it is for Haitians to buy a product and things that they need for everyday life.
exactly.
See, the price of everything skyrocketing, and
Right.
there's nothing the poor people can really do. The people that have money in Haiti have it. They have no problem. They can go to Miami, they can go to DR, to the Dominican Republic, they do they buy what they need, and then they come back to Haiti.
Well,
But
very much like the United States, Haiti has about a 1% super rich elite, right?
yes, just about that. There are about 5% of all people in Haiti that are living well,
About
but the other
5%.
95%,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Okay.
there's no one really advocating for them. No
Right.
one is fighting for them, and this is why the people of Haiti are very attached to President Aristide, and that is why Famila Valas is to them a way out of the misery of the poverty that they are living
Exactly.
in. And
And
that
of course,
explains that
Aristide was uh, in office for how many years?
the first time he was elected was in 1990, and then
But,
he was in office for 7 months. After 7 months, they overthrew his government,
right. And
and then
on his return, how long was he in office when he returned in '95?
about 2 years.
About 2 years. And in that 2 years, I understand that he built more schools than
Yes,
had been built in
we,
all the history of Haiti.
we built over 100 and about 140, close to 140 new schools.
New schools in 2 years.
Public schools
Right, in two
in
years.
2 years.
Yeah, well, maybe
But
California could or Chicago could take some cues from Lavalas
well, I hope they
on
don't
building
also
schools.
overthrow. I hope they don't overthrow the people that are trying to do that, because it's not really the Haiti. When you say Haiti, there is such a big difference between the people that have and the people that don't have anything. The middle class of Haiti is inexistent right now.
It doesn't exist, you said?
It doesn't exist
That's what
anymore.
I
You
figured.
don't
It's
have
just
a
it's
middle
either
class.
rich or you're poor.
Exactly. And there are people that they rather buy food in the street instead of cooking food in their own house, which is something that is not in our culture. See, it's very difficult. And that explains why, in spite of everything, in spite of that machine that we set up against us, we were able to show to the world what they tried to do to the people of Haiti using elections. Because when you hear the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador in Haiti, saying that the elections were good when most people were contesting them. When you hear the position of Washington right now, Washington was willing to go in election in the runoff election with Martelly, that with only one candidate. And the saddest part in all of that is the fact that we marched from August on August 10, we started contesting these elections. We started marching shortly after that. We marched from August to January peacefully.
Right.
No one heard our voices. Everyone kept saying we go in non-stop to run off elections. The entire world backed up. What happened? We were left alone, except for people like yourself, Kilo, and some others in California, like Pierre Laboussière, like
Dennis Bernstein. Dennis Bernstein
exactly
at KPFA,
Bernstein,
yeah.
Kevin Bina. They
Right,
were always on the ball. People like Walter Riley,
right.
and you know, we did get a lot of help from you guys. You may never know how much that, how important that was for us in Haiti.
Sure don't.
It
But
wasn't
I'm glad to know.
until there were, I mean, a
You
very
don't.
violent demonstration on January 22nd that they started listening. And that sent a very bad message. Is that if you don't have a lot of money and if you cannot be violent, shut up. No
Right.
one will hear you.
I know it's sad, isn't it?
And it is
It's
very
really
sad.
sad.
When everyone knew, I mean, Washington knew what happened in Haiti. Paris knew, the entire European community knew. They financed these elections.
Of course. And they call themselves the core group.
The core group
And
is,
that's
is
and it
another
consists
that's another group. the
Yeah,
core group is that MINUSTA, which is the occupying force in Haiti right now.
UN. The
Exactly,
MINUSTA is the acronym for the United Nations forces in Haiti that are behaving like a Gestapo.
exactly, exactly. And you know, and when you put all these together, you see that I mean, they're complaining against the people of it
I'm sorry.
because
Could you say
they,
that again?
it's a plot against the people.
A plot.
They,
Yeah, absolutely. Of
they're not
course.
in Haiti to defend and protect the people. They are there to protect the few. And it is the oppressors, the people that have been putting their boots on the poor of Haiti, the
Right.
people that have been raping the country for the longest time. These are the people that they are protecting.
Oh yeah, and then don't forget Hillary Clinton's brother, Billy Rodham, is already invested in the gold mines of Haiti,
Exactly.
and Clinton is appointed has made himself the self-appointed czar or something that's organizing, helping to organize uh, outside investors to come in and into this industrial park and exploit cheap Haitian labor, right?
I was in Washington a few years ago in a meeting that was organized by Bill Clinton himself. And that was to encourage people to go invest in Haiti. And at one point there is a guy, he's the Indian type, very dark skin with nice hair, like they say, quote unquote. And he asked one question about security in Haiti. And one of the people at that panel, an ambassador in Washington, said that the Dominican Republic, in Santo Domingo, the capital of the Dominican Republic, has a lot more insecurity than all of Haiti. And he said that Jamaica had about 10 times the insecurity that we have in Haiti. And that was all. He sat down. Now, my problem with this answer, with the fact that a couple months earlier, Mrs. Clinton, who was Secretary of State, had reissued a warning telling Americans not to go to Haiti because of the insecurity. And here I am in a meeting organized by uh, William Jefferson Clinton to encourage people to go invest in Haiti. And that, to me, was so, it blew my mind because I couldn't understand how Mr. Clinton was telling people to go and Mrs. Clinton was telling people not to go. It's like those two never met and they were husband and wife. You see, how do you put this together? How does one encourage people? It's not about the people, it's not about Haiti, it is all interest.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Mr. Clinton was managing and still is millions, billions given to Haitians for the construction of Haiti. So it was in his best interest. And that was one way of spending, of tapping into that money for whatever reason.
right.
And then in the other end, you have his wife, who is Secretary of State, telling people not to go to Haiti. You see, so it was never about Haiti. It's
No,
not about the
it's about
Haitian.
their own interests
It is their own interest. What
and their
serves
own
their
profit
interest.
making, and they want to rip off Haiti's resources, its human resources, as well as its natural resources.
Yes. But when you look right now, you look at Haiti and how money is being spent in Haiti,
Right.
how the president is having a lot of bogus programs, and especially in construction, they gave us that little bridge and charged over close to $20 million for it. Something that could not
What
have
was it
cost
they
more
gave?
than two or three.
What was? I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's an overpass. It's like a bridge over a street.
Oh,
For car to go, some car would
and
go up and
and
others
they
would.
managed to milk that for $20 million.
Yeah, exactly. And
Wow.
no one is questioning that. Not,
Wow.
I cannot say nobody, but right now you have the bank, Inter-American Bank of Development, BID, we call it in the Bank Inter-American de Development, IDB. IDB is asking the Mali government to give them the money back, money they finance a project to give it back to them. Why? Because they realized that nothing was done. They got the money, nothing was done, and the people that were invited to bid on that project, three of them, three companies, and all three companies belongs to the same guy, which is the guy Martelly wanted to appoint as president in Haiti, Jovenel Moise. So when IDB realized that, they asked that they give them the money back, something that had never happened before.
Wow.
And that's not the only. I mean, that is proof that no one could have contested, because when I say something, they say it is my affiliation with the Lavalas organization and my grassroots background that pushes me to say things like that. But when it's the Inter-American Bank of Development that is asking for the money back, everyone is silent about it. And in Haiti, it's like a conspiracy against the people. And all that money should have served to rebuild, to help the people rebuild their homes, their schools,
I
the
know.
churches, and none of this was done.
No. No. No.
None of this was done,
No.
and we spent over $5 billion, and there's nothing to show for it.
Exactly.
And in the
Exactly.
meantime, Mr. Matteli has his house that costs over $6 million by the ocean.
He has a $6 million house.
Yes,
Oh God.
and
Oh, that's
the
mind-boggling.
money that they are
In the
investing in
face
the
of that
defense
level of poverty, it's just
community,
mind-boggling. The greed,
that's and nobody
naked greed.
in the international community is questioning this type of expenses. No one is asking for an audit except Famila Valas.
Well,
And this,
they pay well their puppets, don't they?
oh yes, oh
They,
yes.
they,
I'm in the US. Today is the first time you heard about Haiti in a long time.
right?
Why? Because they cannot force the out, they cannot push the president, the sitting president out. They cannot push him out now. So they started building.
Right.
Some,
Priver had a 120-day mandate as the interim president, and it's up, isn't it?
it
The
is up.
120
And they're
days is
asking
up.
him, what they're actually asking him is to do in 120 days what Martelly didn't do in 5 years.
Oh,
And this is the problem.
wow.
They are accusing him of not having elections, the runoff of the election. Now, we did not have election on January 24th because the people would not have accepted it. How can you ask to run for the runoff when the first round didn't happen?
Right.
And this is what we have to deal with in Haiti today.
Right. And let's talk before we run out of time. Let's talk about Dr. Maurice Marcis, who was a candidate for the presidency, and understand that she was attacked. Her office was attacked recently, and someone suffered a wound.
Yes, they went there and there was a lot of shooting.
They shot it up.
They were shooting with those uh, war weapons. I mean,
Automatic weapons.
there was a lot of bullets shot at that house.
Oh my goodness.
Fortunately, only one person was hurt, and there was nobody was killed.
Right.
But things could have been a lot worse.
I
And
know.
guess what? The media in Haiti didn't even report
Wow.
it. It did not talk about it. It's like it never happened.
Right.
And
J-
this is what we have to deal with.
Right.
We say
Let
that
me
there were
interrupt you for just a minute. Jackie, will you put the photos up and we can talk while the photos are showing, and um, it'll be okay, I think. Yeah. This basically she's showing the pictures that you sent of the
the last
Haitians, the Lavalas
demonstration that we had.
movement.
That is to tell the opposition and the world, because everyone, whether it's the European Community Minister or the United States, they're still asking for a runoff. But when the evaluation, the verification committee concluded that there was no election on October 25th, and they couldn't they
You
couldn't
can keep them rolling. Go ahead.
they, they couldn't come up with anything other than that, because there was no election in Haiti. And in spite of that, they're still asking for a runoff. They're still asking for second round. How are you going to have a runoff if there is not, the first one never happened?
If the first election hasn't happened. In fact, didn't wasn't it a kind of a people's victory that the election was declared a fraud? It
Exactly.
was
But this is
declared
what
completely
that's what
fraudulent, the
fraud.
last election.
We went to court with the Electoral Council.
Right.
Family Lavalas went to court, and with they started some sort of verification. They verified 78, uh, not the ballot, but 78 of them. Not one of them was correct out of 78.
Wait a minute, 7 out of 78 ballots?
Not the ballot itself, but it's after the people vote. There is where they some sort of a primary report where they put the number of vote every candidate has
I see. The number of votes for a specific candidate,
for all the candidates.
for all of them.
Not one of them was good. Out of
Not one of
78,
them was what? I'm having trouble hearing you.
they were all fraudulent.
All
78
of
or
them.
79 out of 78 or 79 fraudulent. They
Wow.
could not find one
Well,
that was all right.
another
And the
78
verification,
out of 79 ballots were fraudulent.
79 out of 79. They couldn't find one that
Wow.
was correct.
Oh,
And in
they
spite
couldn't
of
find
that,
one that wasn't fraudulent.
not one of them.
Not one.
And
Wow.
instead of going further, investigating what happened, the next day, the Electoral Council proclaimed that, what is his name, Jovenel Moïse, who is the candidate of Martelly, of PHCK, the candidate of the president, was the one who came out on top.
Wow.
And what they wanted to do is to elect him right there, which would mean giving him 50% plus at least one vote. And he would have been declared president on the first one. And if it wasn't for the people, the people standing up against that, and they knew what they were standing up against.
Right.
It was against the entire European community, the United States minister, and the oligarchy of Haiti, and all the other political parties. But the people stood up and said they would not. This is the biggest thing that happened in Haiti since 1804. That was the first time the people said that they may be killed, but they're going to stand up against that because they will not accept what happened. Last night I saw. You remember that march on Selma Bridge
Right. Right.
in the U.S.?
Right.
Last night I watched that movie again.
You're talking about the original Selma March, where they were
Exactly.
attacked.
Where they massacred those people.
Right. Yeah.
And we leave that in Haiti, in after the elections in Haiti. They gassed up, they shot at us. I mean, what we went through. But in spite of all of that, every time there were more people going to this demonstration, more people saying that they would not accept what was happening in
That's why I love the Haitian people so much. I just can't believe their courage. I mean, y'all are some gutsy folks. You did just you're always just facing down military, facing down bullets and heavy weaponry and everything, and just on a move. I'm just blown away by you.
I mean, on the 20 on January 22nd, the guy that was next to me got shot in that demonstration in between.
Oh,
Luckily, he was hit in the arm, and it wasn't. But it could have been a lot worse.
I know, and they just keep moving.
The next day, we were out there again. You see,
I
so
know,
but
I know. I just
it was we had to do it.
I'm sorry.
We, we had to do it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, right now we would have had a president with that imposed. They would have imposed another president on us like they did 5 years ago.
right, Martelly. And talk
Yes,
about let our folks know just how terrible Mark Lee is. You know, just what kind of dude this
The-
character is.
listen. The people of Haiti didn't deserve that. You
I
have a
mean,
guy that has with no moral whatsoever, no
no
morality.
morals.
A guy that will take his pants off. He did that right in New York on Eastern Parkway, which is why he was never invited to the Caribbean Festival again. That happened on Labor Day every year. And he does that in Haiti all the time,
Just takes his pants off.
taking his pants off and bend down but
I heard he's pretty vulgar, but
but this compared to the way they raped the country blind was not.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Of all the money, these guys are multi-millionaire right
We're getting static
now.
and feedback. I
And,
don't know
and
why.
and they have no accountability. They whatever they wanted to do, they did. They stole the reconstruction money in Haiti. If you go to Haiti right now, nothing is being reconstructed.
Because they're just if you're getting ripped off. The
Exactly.
corruption is just
And and
ubiquitous.
and, and to see that the world community doesn't want an audit right now of the Martelly administration, which is what we are pushing for. This is the next step of the battle. Because you cannot steal all that money and live happily ever after as if nothing happened.
Right.
And the other thing also is that we are at that point where administratively things have to change.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
We have to change things, and this is the moment to do it.
Oh, if ever there were a moment to change things, it's now. I mean, look at the election here. For goodness sakes, look at what we're looking at. It's really horrible.
Well, I tell you one thing: the elections here, that's it's pure compared with what happened in here. Yeah, it is
You're saying
because
that Martelly is even worse than Trump.
I mean, and the things also, it is time that there is one standard for everyone,
Yeah.
especially in the U.S. The position that the U.S. is taking, if something is not good for one country, it shouldn't be good for another.
For sure.
We have to have one standard.
Right.
The things that are accepted in Haiti would never be accepted in a country like Israel, for
Oh
example.
goodness.
They will never accept that in Spain or
Or
England or
France
France.
or
But this is what they are inflicting on us.
exactly.
And when we stand up and say it's not going to happen, we don't want it, and it's like they make it look like we are the devil.
I know. I
But
know.
I remember telling Burn on a show I did with David Bernstein that we were going to war. That was before the election. But it was nothing short of that. We did go to war.
Right.
Luckily, we won that part of what of it, but it's not the end. We're still going to have election, and it is the same machine, the same situation, and the outcome might be the same, and we will not accept it if it's the same. If they try to steal the election again, it's going to be the same thing.
Haitians will take to the streets en masse.
We
Simple
will,
as that.
we will not leave the streets again.
We
We
need to
will
follow
have to,
your example here.
huh?
We need to
We will-
follow your example. In fact, Haitians are our political leaders. You were from Jump Street. I mean, you were the ones who kept us from half the country speaking French with the Louisiana Purchase after defeating Napoleon's troops and defeating Britain and Spain as well, and getting them and the first black people on the planet who fought their way, battled their way out of slavery,
But
and
you know,
then later on helped us in our Revolutionary War against the British, right?
yes. But you know what? Louisiana, which extended from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to Canada by then, was 75 times the size of the island of Haiti. And it was so important to the French that they considered Louisiana, I believe it was April 30th, 1803. They considered Louisiana for $15 million.
I remember it.
And in 1825, when they went back with the fleet, and there were like 400 cannon pointed at Port-au-Prince, and it was Charles X who demanded that Haiti paid ransom of 150 million, which is about $150 million. Otherwise, they will bomb Haiti.
They would bomb Haiti.
You imagine asking 10 times more for a piece of land that's 70 times, 75 times smaller than Louisiana. $115 million to concede Louisiana, and $150 million to in order to accept Haiti as a sovereign country. And it wasn't
Oh,
until
I get it. Now you're saying that France paid
15
for the
million.
purchase of had to sell Louisiana for $15 million. They already occupied it, right?
That was to keep Haiti,
To keep it,
keep the war, to finance the war of
right?
Haiti. And we are talking about the biggest military machine of the time, which is the military machine of Napoleon Bonaparte.
Right.
And 20 years later, that was in 1825, 21 years later to be exact, they demanded $150 million
I
not to bomb Haiti.
right. I remember that.
But it shows how important Haiti was to France, to the French, because two-thirds of the budget was coming from Haiti. And it is that same mentality that's going on even today. They can go do whatever they want and then get out without any worries whatsoever.
Right.
And this is the
And
one thing.
let me just inject that when Aristide was in power, he demanded from France restitution to the tune of, I think it was 9 billion, was it? Which was the amount that
It was
150 million would translate into today's money with
21
interest.
billion, close to 22 billion. It was 21 billion, 365 million, 800 and some, and 48 cents.
Right.
So that's the one thing that really got the last nerve of the French. It wasn't so
Well, that
much the
I know
21
that
million,
must
but
have
the
really
48
pissed them
cents.
off.
That was difficult for them to
Yeah.
digest. But understand something. In
We only
2001,
have about a minute and a half left. 1 minute.
uh, in 2001, the French Parliament proclaimed that slavery was a crime against humanity. So President Aristide used that to tell them that a country who fought to get out of a criminal situation should not have had to pay ransom in order for any country to accept it.
Right.
And that is the rationale behind asking French uh, we,
Rest.
to return that money to
Yeah,
the people.
restitution. Thank you so much, Jean Yvon Kernizan, and thank you, Jackie Fedez, for board hopping, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Freedom is a Constant Struggle. Uh, don't forget the Juneteenth celebration on Fillmore Saturday, and all power to the people, and liberate Haiti.